everyone, it's Jessica from the Boys and Girls Club. I hope everyone is doing well and I hope you had a great week last week. This week we're going to be doing another activity, and for this week's activity we're going to be making some origami bookmarks, and they're going to be kind of motivational bookmarks. So to do this week's activity, kind of just like the other weeks, you're going to need some paper and anything to write with. So markers, pencils, pencil crayons, anything to write with. And you also might need a pair of scissors. So let's get started. When we make our bookmark, we want to make sure that we have a piece of square paper. That's going to be the first step in making this bookmark. So if you already have paper that is in the shape of a square, you can skip this step. But if you're like me and you have just a regular piece of paper that's a rectangular shape, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to turn that rectangular piece of paper into a square piece of paper. And I'm going to do that by bringing this top left corner down to the bottom of this page. And that'll just make sure that this side of the sheet lines up with this side of the sheet. So I'm going to take this top left corner and bring it down to the bottom of the sheet so that those edges line up. I'm going to make sure that those two sides of the paper are lined up nice and straight, because that'll help to make sure that my square really does look like a square. And I'm going to fold that section over, make sure it's creased down nice and flat. And so now that we have this, we're actually going to take our paper and a pair of scissors, and we're going to cut this rectangular section off. And when we cut that rectangular section off, we're just going to make sure that it's as straight as we can make it, just to make sure that all four sides of our square are pretty even and straight. So now that that section is cut off, I can just put that to the side. I don't need that little rectangular piece. And so then I'm left with what looks like a triangle. And so if we open up this triangle, we'll actually see that our rectangular sheet of paper has become a square piece of paper. And so now that we have our square sheet of paper, we're actually going to turn our paper so that we have a point at the top and a point at the bottom of our piece of paper. And we're actually going to just be folding where we had just unfolded. So we're going to take this bottom piece and fold it up towards the top piece. And again, just make sure that your crease, or your fold, sorry, is kind of pushed down and really straight. And so now that we have our piece folded, we're going to do two other folds, and it'll kind of turn our triangle shape into a smaller square shape. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking this bottom corner and kind of folding the paper upwards towards this corner. And then we're going to do the same with this side. So I'll show you. We're going to grab this little bottom flap, and we're just going to pull it up to this top corner, and we're going to make sure it's kind of nice and straight in that corner. And once we have it lined up pretty well in that little corner, we're just going to fold it down. Again, pushing down on the fold you've made. And then we're going to do the same thing with this left side. So we're going to take this corner flap and fold it up towards that top point. You want to make these folds as straight as you can. And so you can see we now have kind of a smaller looking square. And we're actually going to unfold these folds that we just made. And when we do that, we can see that our triangle, our big triangle, actually now has two smaller triangles in it and a square in the middle. And so when we look at that, we can kind of see that there's a line here and a line here. And we're going to look for the point where those two lines kind of meet. So it's kind of where the square and the two triangles are all touching each other. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to take a top point from this part of our triangle and fold it down into this kind of point where the square and two triangles meet each other. But if you look at what we have so far, if you pick it up and kind of hold it this way, you can see that there are kind of two pieces of paper because we kind of folded our shape. So for this next fold, we're just going to take this top piece. So we're going to leave this sheet unfolded. We're not going to touch this piece right now. We're just going to take this top corner and bring it down. So just this top flap, we take this corner and bring it down. And we're going to push that down, make sure our fold is nice and flattened. And now there's actually only two more folds that we have to do before we finish our bookmark. So the first thing is we're going to take this kind of right flap of our triangle and we're going to start to fold it. And you'll notice that right away it'll kind of fold automatically from a fold that you made a few steps earlier. And once you have it folded, you're actually going to pick the piece of paper up and you'll see that there's a gap in the paper. And so what you're going to do is you're going to fold this piece into the gap. So you're going to be holding your piece of paper like this, and you're just going to bend this little flap over, and you'll just push it right inside. And then on the kind of fold that you created from that, you're just going to push that down. And then we're going to do the same thing with this flap. So we're going to fold this flap over, which kind of automatically happens from our earlier fold. But you can just push it down again too, just to make sure it really is flattened. Then we're going to pick up our bookmark again, make sure we have that flap. We're going to take this point and fold it inside. So just push it down. And push the point in. And so now that we have the point folded in, again, we can just flatten the new fold that we've made. And believe it or not, this is what our bookmark looks like. I'll show you kind of how you could use it. If this was your book, you would just open it up. Maybe if you wanted to stop reading at this page, you would just take a few pieces of paper. You would take your bookmark and just slide your bookmark over those pieces of paper. So then it looks like that. You can close your book, and that is how you would know where your last page was. So if you want to start reading again, you open up your book, and you would know that where the bookmark is probably where you left off. And so before we kind of actually start using our bookmark in our books, we're going to write down a few things on it, just so that when we do read our books, when we see our bookmark, we kind of have some reminders for ourselves. So the first thing we're going to be doing is on the top here, we're going to write down ways I can help others. So right here, I'm going to write ways I can, and then on this side, I'm going to write help others. And so you can kind of see that there are two little small triangles here separated by this line. And so on each triangle, we're going to write down one way that we could help others. So there are all kinds of different ways that we could help others, and they could even be small little actions. So I know that we're all at home right now staying safe, and so one really good way that I think we could help others would just be to kind of help out our parents maybe around the house. It could be maybe cleaning up your room, maybe it could be helping clean up other parts of the house. I know that in my house, one way that I could really help out is by cleaning the dishes. So one way that I can help others, I'm going to write down here, is by cleaning the dishes. So another way that I think I could help others would be by helping with homework. So I know a lot of people are home right now doing online school, and I have a lot of younger cousins that are actually doing this online school right now, so I know that I could always call them and help them with their homework if they need me to. So I'm going to also write down help with homework. And so you might have some of these same ideas, or they might be different ideas. It could be something like, I can help my little sibling to learn a new word. Maybe I can help them tie their shoes. You know, I can help my friend by maybe calling them and just making sure that they're okay right now. Because I know I can't see them right now, but I can still call them and just kind of check in on them. So just any way that you think you could help people. Just small little ways that you can help someone. And so once you have written down 2 ways that you think you can help someone, we're going to write down one other thing, and that's going to be one thing that you want to get better at. So over here, we're going to write one thing I want to get better at. So I'll do that first. One thing I want to get better at. So this could be anything that maybe you want to learn, or maybe something you know how to do right now but would want to get even better at. So maybe you want to learn how to knit, or maybe you want to learn how to do maybe something different or something more advanced in your knitting. So maybe you want to just learn different things that you could knit. Maybe you want to learn a different language, or maybe get better at a language that you already speak. Maybe you want to get better at learning new words. Maybe you want to expand on the words that you already know. It could also be something like maybe a different skill. So maybe you want to learn a sport. So maybe you could write down that I want to get better at playing soccer. Just kind of anything that you want to learn or would want to improve at. So I know for me, I want to get better at speaking Italian. So I'm pretty good at understanding it, but I want to learn how to speak it better. So I'm going to write down speaking Italian. And so this is our bookmark, and this bookmark is just our motivational bookmark. And so whenever we're reading our books, I'll just show you again. If we're on a page that we want to leave off at, we grab a few pieces of paper, slide our bookmark on, and close our book. And then this way, when we want to start reading our book again, we open it. And not only are we going to kind of continue to learn as we read through our book, we'll also see some reminders to ourselves of thinking of ways that we can help others. And then when we do take our bookmark out and put it in a different section of our book, we'll also see a reminder of one thing that we want to get better at. And so you could always decorate this if you wanted to. You could just leave it the way that it is. But however you decide to make your bookmark, if you want to share it with the Boys and Girls Club, that would be awesome. We'd love to see your take on the bookmark that you made.